Still rocking after all these years.
This is the story of my rock and roll butler.
This is it, the show that started it all. Often imitated, but never equal. From San Francisco, USA, online since 2004. It's the one and only Rock and Roll Geek Show. With the original rock and roll geek, Michael Butler.
Welcome to the Rock and Roll Geek Show. My name's Michael Butler. Thanks a lot for joining me. I really appreciate it. Today is Sunday, August 21st, 2016, when I'm recording this show, and it's 5:32 p.m. And I have to say, I'm probably about 12 Tecates in. I have not drank this much in a long time. So I'm going to take a sip of this fine iced tea because I just can't drink any more beer. I can't remember the last time I just couldn't drink any more beers. Let me take a sip of this fine iced tea. At 5:30 p.m., the room is spinning, friends, and I don't think I like the room spinning. For my friend Shockey and his designated driver came over to my house. We sat around the fire pit and cooked food and drank beer from about 1 o'clock till 5 o'clock, and the beers just kept adding up, and the food kept adding up and adding up. We had Korean short ribs, we had shrimp, we had octopus, we had chicken livers, we had chicken gizzards, we had marinated Korean chicken, we had Korean cucumber kimchi, we had grilled peaches, we had grilled pineapple, we had fish, we had corn, we had grilled sweet potatoes, we had grilled, and more grilled. Oh man, I am stuffed and I am full of beer and the room is spinning. But I had a great time. It was really nice seeing my good friend Chiaki, and I'm sure he will be talking about it on his podcast as well, because this is day 18 of the Dog Days of Podcasting, where several other podcast nerds and I attempt to do a show a day for 30 days, and we're into, is it 17 or 16? I think it's 17, but I could be wrong. I better probably check. Does it really matter? No, it doesn't, friends. I think it's day 18 now that I really think about it, when the room is spinning. So rather than me talk and act like an idiot, I'm going to play an audio comment. Hello, commenter. Hello.
Michael Butler. How the hell are you, friend?
I am a little bit drunk, but other than that, I'm super great. Could not be better.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
It's the Rock and Roll Frankfurter
Hey,
calling
Frankfurter.
in with a show review for the
Frank.
Dog Days of Summer podcast.
Dog Days of Podcast.
Calling
day
in with a
18.
review of the recent Hollywood Vampire show.
Oh, yes.
Up in Mount.
Alice Cooper, Joe Perry, Johnny Depp, Matt Sorum, and some other people I don't know.
Winery, beautiful Saratoga, California.
I had a chance to go to that show, and I had been out every night that week, and I could not go because it would have been very difficult for me to justify being gone out another night. But I wanted to see that show.
And this was one of the first shows back for Joe Perry after his
I think it might have been his
incident
first
in New
one
York. I think it was like the second, maybe third show back. And
Okay.
that's really what ended up swaying me to get a last-minute ticket on StubHub, which I did get for only about $20.
That's not bad.
Plus parking. But damn worth it.
I heard it was good.
Joe Perry sounded great, which I'll get into. But did not see the Rock and Roll Geek at this show.
No, I
with a
was not
special lady
there.
friend, which
No.
I thought I may.
No, but I could not come, friend.
But show opened up with Raise the Dead.
I don't know who that is.
And I should mention who the band was at this point. So on vocals, of course, Alice Cooper.
Yes.
Lead guitar, Joe Perry. Matt Sorum from GNR on drums.
Yes.
Dean DeLeo on bass.
Stone Temple Pilots.
I think is a really underrated bass player, and he was replacing Duff McKagan, who's out, of course, with GNR. And then rounding it out was Tommy Hendrickson, who I guess is in Alice Cooper's touring band.
Yeah, and I heard Tommy Hendrickson is actually the musical director of the Hollywood Vampires.
On guitar. Kind of a cross between Mick Cripps and Marky Ramone looking dude, but he was amazing. And then a utility guy named Bruce Whitkin on keyboards, some guitar, vocals.
I've never
maybe
heard
a
that.
triangle.
Never heard that term, utility guy.
And then the band was rounded out by some new dude named Johnny Depp.
Oh yeah,
on guitar.
which I have said this on the Rock and Roll Geek Show before, but I heard a rumor that the reason that Joe Perry left that tour and reason he collapsed is because a new dude named Johnny Depp has gotten Joe Perry back into the drugs and is back doing things that he shouldn't be doing. That's just what I heard. That's probably might not be true, but it's what I heard.
So, as I said, show opens with Raise the Dead.
I don't know. Okay,
then
Raise It as a song, not the opening band. I don't know. Is the Raise the Dead original?
into the covers portion, starting off with I Got a Line on You, The Spirit.
I got a line on you, babe. I got a line on you, babe. Don't like that song. Actually, though, Blackfoot covered that tune, but it's a little bit of an old cover. Yeah, I like Blackfoot's version of that.
And then into a couple David Bowie tunes, Rebel Rebel.
I would like to hear Alice Cooper singing Rebel Rebel.
Suffragette City.
Butlers do Suffragette City.
Cool to see actually kind of twin leads between Joe Perry and Johnny Depp. And I will say I was really not expecting anything from Johnny Depp.
I heard Johnny Depp is actually a really good guitar player. He actually, before he was an actor, he played in a band called the Rock City Angels. That's the reason he came out to Hollywood, because Rock City Angels, he was in Miami, Florida, in a band called Rock City Angels. The band moved out to California, and that's when he got discovered for and became in that TV show. Was it 21 Jump Street? I don't know what show he was in, but he became an actor, and Rock City Angels ended up going on to be signed to Geffen, and their debut album was a double album. I interviewed that singer who is no longer with us. It was a great interview, which you'll probably never hear again. It was like a 2-hour interview. Thank you to Mevio for deleting all my podcasts. But yeah, that's the history of Johnny Depp. So he's been playing guitar for longer than he's been acting.
Player, but was kind of pleasantly surprised that kind of held his own. Of course, he thinks he's the ghost of Keith Richards or channeling Keith Richards, but had some chops. I will give him credit. He was definitely better than I thought he was going to be. And then into a Jimi Hendrix tune, Manic Depression.
I'm not a Hendrix. I have nothing against Jimi Hendrix as the guitar player, but I'm not a big fan of the tunes. They're a little bit before my time. So when those kind of songs come on the radio, I kind of change the channel. So far, I'm not loving their cover choices other than the Rebel Rebel.
To me, it was one of the lowlights of the show. Really kind of a sluggish version, kind of bloated.
It's old man
not
covers.
A fan of that one. Into the Doors, also.
Bathroom Break.
That one. As Bad as I Am.
I don't know what that is.
Then into a couple T-Rex covers.
Oh, that's good. 20th Century Boy.
Boy.
There you go. Butlers play that. So does Featherwitch.
My all-time favorite jams. Great song. They did a great version. Really loved it. And then into Bang a Gong, Get It On.
That's a good one. Joe Perry did that song on Once a Rocker, Always a Rocker, Joe Perry Project solo album. How's that for rock knowledge?
Beatles cover doing Come Together.
Pretty much an Aerosmith cover, right? Aerosmith does a great version of that on Live Bootleg.
And this one was kind of a standout in that Joe Perry played a reverse flying V, which I have never seen in my life.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's probably yellow.
have I seen play this weird of a guitar. So that was a great cover. Into a cover of Love's 7 and 7 is
I don't know that one.
Zeppelin, Whole Lot of Love.
Care
And
less.
then into the Hollywood Vampires, My Dead Drunk Friends. And for those of you that don't know, the Hollywood Vampires is based on the 1970s social drinking club. That
I actually went up into the lair of the Hollywood Vampires at the Rainbow. It's upstairs at the Rainbow. It's a room that's usually locked, but I was there with Mick Cripps, and he managed to get the manager to open the door and let us in. It's a very small room in the upstairs of the Rainbow. It's called the Lair of the Hollywood Vampires. It's where John Lennon, Alice Cooper, I think Harry Nilsson, a couple of other people used to hang out and drink when they were all in town.
Cooper and Ringo Starr.
Yeah, Ringo Starr.
Keith Moon and a bunch of other degenerates used to participate in Hollywood. And this is more or less a tribute to all their dead drunk friends. Then we got into Stop Messing Around, which is a Fleetwood Mac cover. And the cool thing about this was it was actually featuring Joe Perry on lead vocals.
Actually, I believe Joe Perry did that one on one of his solo albums. It might have been the last Joe Perry solo album, I believe.
Who started off by saying kind of the old Keith Richards line about it's great to be here.
It's great to be anywhere.
Great to be anywhere. He seemed to be really genuinely happy to be back on stage and loving every moment of it. Did a killer behind the head guitar solo on this tune. He was just ripping, man, in classic Joe Perry.
Yeah, I wish I'd have gone.
Then we got into what I think was the highlight of the entire set, which was a cover of Ace of Spades. And it featured Matt Sorum on vocals. And dude just channeled his best Filthy Phil in the back. Totally doing an impression of him, the way he played the drums. Like I said, it featured Matt Sorum on lead vocals, a little bit of Alice Cooper chiming in. But to me, this was just a amazing rockin' version. Definitely one of the highlights of the set, if not the highlight. Then we got into a couple Who tunes, Pinball Wizard, My Generation, All Good. Finished up with I'm 18 by Alice Cooper.
Okay, that's a
great
good one.
Version.
Yes.
And then into Sweet Emotion.
Nice.
Joe Perry.
I'd like to hear Alice Cooper singing Sweet Emotion. Was it Alice Cooper singing or Joe Perry?
Center on stage. Although he did have some voice box issues, ended up having to change guitars right in the middle of the song, and you could see he was looked like he was having a bit of a heated exchange with his guitar tech, and something was definitely not working as it should be.
Yeah,
So,
I heard that he's not the greatest guy to be a guitar tech for. You don't want anything to fuck up when you're either Joe Perry's guitar tech or Steven Tyler's monitor man. There are legends about monitor guys who have not been able to handle the wrath of Aerosmith back in the drug days.
swapped out guitars in the middle of the tune and ended up wrapping the tune up by laying the guitar down on stage, taking his vest off, and then just repeatedly slapping the guitar with his vest.
Yeah, that's an old bit he does on Draw the Line during Aerosmith shows.
Which I don't know if that's his normal stage shtick, but yeah, it was a rousing end to a great set of tunes. Everybody takes a bow at the end, pointing to Joe Perry, and then Alice Cooper introducing him as the indestructible Joe Perry.
There you go.
So band goes off for a couple minutes, comes back out for an encore. Alice Cooper intros the band. And the only thing that bugged me about this was they introduced Johnny Depp last.
Why is that
which
bug
to me
you?
is a bit of a travesty.
Why?
To introduce Johnny Depp after Joe Perry.
Why?
Kind of in the pecking order of things. So we get into the encores.
So
There were
do you want the best guy to be introduced first or last? I don't really get it. Let me know, Frankfurter.
Of course, Train kept a rolling, which I never need to hear again.
Exactly. If Aerosmith never play, I mean, I have nothing against that tune. I like that tune just fine, but it's like if I never hear Cheap Trick play The Flame again, or, it's one of those songs I've heard enough.
But it was a faithful version, definitely rocking. And then we finished out the last song. I think it was the 21st song of the set, which was "School's Out."
Okay, that's a good one.
With his little mix of Another Brick in the Wall that he ends up doing in the middle.
That Alice Cooper's been doing this last tour.
And that was it, man. 21 songs total. Great set. Really glad I went. Really kind of blew me away, and may have to actually go out and see Alice Cooper doing his thing.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go to that too.
Now. So that's it. Stay frosty.
All right, stay frosty, friend. You too can leave me an audio comment or show review like the Rock and Roll Frankfurter did. Area code 706-621-ROCK. That's area code 706-621-7625. You can find this show at rockandrollgeek.com. Also, you can send me an email, rockandrollgeek@gmail.com. You can record an audio comment or show review on your phone and just send it to me. Email it to me, rockandrollgeek@gmail.com. You can find this show you can find me on the Facebook. There's also a Rock and Roll Geek Facebook group, which I didn't start, but I do have the ability to approve people. It's now a private Facebook group because the guys who do manage the group have decided to make it private, and that's just fine with me because now we can post more adult stuff. I'm not sure if you're allowed to put nude stuff if it's a private group, but if you'd like to be added to the Rock and Roll Geek Facebook group, just look for it on Facebook and somebody will approve you. Find me on the Twitter, R&R Geek. Find me on the Instagram, Rock and Roll Geek. That's enough ways to reach me. Thank you for donating, friends. Thanks to all the people who donated. Got a new donor, Rick Moffitt, new donor at the Rock and Roll Geek Show. Thanks, Rick Moffitt. I really appreciate it, friend. All right, I'm going to get out of here. Oh, one more thing I'm going to play a song and get out of here. This band, The Tragically Hip. This band is unknown in the United States, but they are beloved in Canada. And they had their last concert last night so I don't know where their last concert was, but it was their last show because the singer's name is, this is how little I know about Tragically Hip. The singer's name is Gord Downie. I know nothing about Tragically Hip except for a few listeners of the show have quote, hipped me to the Tragically Hip, but apparently they are really beloved in Canada, and they are like considered Canada's favorite band. And the singer Gord Downie is has terminal brain cancer, and this was their last tour, and they played their very last show last night. It was a farewell to Gord Downie. So I'm going to close out the show with a song from the Tragically Hip. Let's all say a prayer for Gord Downie. I don't know anything about this band, but as beloved as they are in Canada, I hope as much as people love this guy in Canada and the band Tragically Hip, or The Hip as they're known in Canada, they must be good. So I'm actually now in the process of downloading the entire Tragically Hip catalog. So before I puke or pass out, I'm going to play this song and get the hell out of here. Thanks for joining me on day 18 of the Dog Days of Podcasting, friends. We will talk to you tomorrow. I'm doing a Mad at Dad with Dave Slusher. We got a new system with the live stream and chat. Hopefully it's going to work out okay. I'm going to do a Mad at Dad tomorrow with Dave Slusher and another Dog Days of Podcasting. My mouth is getting dry. I'm going to take a shower, and hopefully I'll be sober enough to pardon me, I'm bourbon this fine iced tea and 10 or 12 Tecates. Hopefully I'll be ready for another Tecate and make it through the night. All right, thanks, friends. I'm getting mush mouth, so here is a Tragically Hip song. We'll talk to you tomorrow, friends.
This dream where I relished the fray and the screaming filled my head all day. It was as though I'd been spit here, settled into the pocket of a lighthouse on some rocky socket of the coast of France, dear. One afternoon, 4,000 men died in the water here, and 500 more were thrashing madly as parasites.
It's a rock and roll geek train wreck.